Namaste viewers, welcome to another brand new episode of Mirror Prime. It's me, Ashish Pareek. Another day, another news of a woman being molested in the world of glitz and glamour. Award-winning choreographer Jani Master has now been booked for alleged sexual assault. In fact, this comes after a 21-year-old woman who also worked with him filed a sexual assault case against him in Telangana's Rangar Reddy district. The police have registered a Zero FIR. A case has also been registered under sections of rape. The woman, who is also a choreographer, has reported that multiple assaults took place during shoots in various cities such as Chennai, Mumbai and Hyderabad.
మాకు రాయదుర్గం పోలీస్ స్టేషన్ నుంచి ఒక జీరో ఎఫ్ఐఆర్ రావడం జరిగింది. అక్కడ ఒక విక్టిమ్ ఏజ్ అబౌట్ 21 to 22 ఇయర్స్ ఈ ఫిలిం ఇండస్ట్రీకి సంబంధించిన కొరియోగ్రాఫర్ ఎవరైతే జానీ మాస్టర్ ఎవరైతే ఉన్నారో ఆమెని సెక్సువల్గా అబ్యూజ్ చేసినట్టుగా, థ్రెటనింగ్ చేసినట్టుగా, వర్క్ ప్లేస్లో థ్రెటన్ చేసినట్టుగా, సెక్సువల్ అబ్యూజ్ చేసినట్టుగా మాకు జీరో ఎఫ్ఐఆర్ అయ్యి మాకు ఇక్కడికి రావడం జరిగింది. మాకు ఇక్కడ నిన్న మేము కూడా ఇక్కడ ఎఫ్ఐఆర్ చేసినాము. దాంట్లో ఇన్వెస్టిగేషన్ చేస్తున్నాము. యాజ్ పర్ ఇన్వెస్టిగేషన్ వచ్చిన ఎవిడెన్స్ని బట్టి ఫర్దర్గా ప్రొసీడ్ అవుతాము.
All right, so absolutely distressing news coming in, and we also have some guests here to discuss this. What exactly happened? What's happening in the world of glitz and glamour? Joining us on the broadcast is Casturi Shanker, who's an actor, PK Jain, who's a former additional DGP of Maharashtra, and Brinda Adige, who's also an activist. Casturi ji, I'll start with you first up. You're also from the same industry. Every single day we seem to come across a new case of such molestation and assault. You worked in the industry for a very long time. Have you ever come across this man? And also, when you hear of cases like this, what comes to your mind?
Okay, first off, you asked me, have I ever come across this man? I have never personally met Mr. Jani Master, but he's very famous. He is a top choreographer in the Telugu industry. He has done extremely huge projects. So, the chart-busting numbers from Jailer and all that, even in Tamil, is by Jani Master only. So it's not a question of not knowing him, number one. Number two, you said every day these kind of allegations are surfacing in the movie world. The fact remains that sexual assault cases are being filed from every section of society. Every 16 minutes, there is a rape happening in India. So there are cases being filed from every section, every sector of society, from every corporate, industry, banks, schools. So the only reason I think we end up holding a magnifying glass to the movie industry, I don't think the movie industry's numbers are in any way different, different from anywhere else where men are involved. I think it's just that because it's the movie industry and it's always, it holds so much of attraction to people, as well as it makes headlines all the time. Anything that happens becomes news, and that is why this magnifying glass is being held. I'm not saying that that doesn't justify anything. I'm saying we have to take it into context. There are violations and there are injustices happening to women everywhere. To kind of give the perception that movies are more dangerous to women than the outside world, the rest of the world, I think is doing an injustice to the safety of women. So I just want to clarify on that. And then thirdly, what do we do? This is coming, yes, as an industry insider who works in Telugu predominantly, I find it very painful. But as an advocate, I have to say I have seen so many people abuse the concession given to women that is meant to help them come out and get justice. I feel it's very brave of women who come out and name their predators. But at the same time, in my experience, when somebody comes up with an allegation of multiple sexual assaults across years, across locations, usually there is also a personal agenda to it. And thorough investigation is needed in cases like that.
All right. Okay, Casturi Shanker ji, to first respond to one of the things that you said here, nobody here is trying to say that movie industry is alone to be blamed. This happens everywhere, and Brinda Adige ji joins us on such discussions on multiple issues, and we cover pretty much every single industry where it happens. And this is a issue with the society, not just a particular film industry. And I think everyone on the panel does agree to that as well. Brinda Adigeji, I'll come to you now. We just look at this particular case now. This is a 42-year-old man, a star choreographer, a National Film Award winner. And on the other hand, you have a 21-year-old trying to make a career in the movies. In her complaint, she also mentions that she was threatened, that she will not find work if she speaks out. Such hugely tilted power dynamics, do you think that also makes it tougher for women to come out and speak about issues such as these?
Sexual harassment is power dynamics. Sexual harassment at the workplace is nothing but power and the feeling that his word is going to be taken first. And that would be also the last. The woman is going to be doubted. And this statement that we all the time make is she must have a personal agenda. No, who doesn't have a personal agenda? All of us have a personal agenda. This is a 42-year-old man, like you pointed out, in a very powerful position with people around him who will also strengthen that power even more. This is a 21-year-old girl, 22-year-old, I don't know how old she is, but she's a major and probably new into the job. Multiple locations. I'm sure other people on the sets also know about it, but nobody will talk about it because her job is at stake. Her dignity is at stake. Her respect is at stake. But she will put all that aside and say, okay, I've got a job. Let me just go on with it. Hoping, thinking that, somewhere this man will stop. But predators, sexual perpetrators don't stop like that because they know who are the easy prey, who their victims must be. Not everybody also gets molested or abused. Not all the time, everywhere, all women get molested and abused by all men. There are few people who take the opportunity knowing that in this space, that person is much more vulnerable than somebody else. That person is in a much more sensitive, delicate
Correct.
situation than somebody else. Now, that said, let us place on record, it is expected of the film industry to be much more safer for women because women are in those vulnerable
Correct.
positions. And because they are not, and they're coming out today, because it has been decades, nobody has come out. We will hear whispers, we'll hear some kind of a rumor, but nobody has ever come out. Today they are coming out because of the Justice Hema Committee, because the Kerala actors have set this precedent, because the state of Kerala put that judicial team over there, and so everybody's coming out and speaking, thinking probably these other film industries and the states might also come up with similar such committees. We don't know. I hope it does. But a precedent has been
Correct.
set, and what we must place on record is tell, like Madam Kasturi pointed out, very, very good that this woman has come out and spoken. She must be supported and she must be strengthened. And the people who are powerful in the industry must not intimidate or threaten her. That is very important. So people who are seniors in the industry must also ensure that she's not threatened and intimidated because he's a powerful man, award-winning person, and all of those kind of things. And I hope the police make a strong case out of it. Registering a zero FIR, they will do because it is from the film industry and it is out in the news. But will the case see a logical conclusion? That is what we need to see.
Absolutely. That's a very good point, Adigeji, because this is one issue that I think a lot of women have also raised, the fact that such cases come to the light. A lot is spoken about it. But do these cases actually see a logical conclusion? PK Jain ji, we see multiple such cases where serious allegations are leveled against powerful men. And you see just a few months later, they're out, they're roaming about. They are still as powerful as ever. And it's the woman that at the end of the day has to quit the industry and is nowhere to be seen.
Ashish ji, namaskar. A couple of things I would like to state right in the beginning. Emotional outbursts, are very much valid, and they must be expressed. But unfortunately, in such cases, the people who are in power, they exploit the women who are under them, who are vulnerable, which has happened in this particular case. Also, a young girl trying to make a career, and a celebrated choreographer trying to take advantage of her. And she's not the only one. I'm sure I'm on your screen only. I was watching just now that he's already been held accountable once and has been punished. See, unfortunately, what happens for the police, two adults and having a sexual intercourse with consent. Now, this has come after many months of harassment and torture that this girl has come out and lodged a complaint. But two adults having a sexual intercourse, unfortunately, does not fall into the category of rape unless there's some kind of inducement given, which in this case must have been given, you know, to bring her up in her career and all that, which may not have happened. But unfortunately, the the presentable evidence in such cases is lost over a period of time. So today, this girl has lodged a complaint. The statements will be recorded. If there is circumstantial evidence, that will be collected. But eventually, would the police or the investigating officer find clinching evidence to take this case to the court and build a very watertight case is something which it varies from case to case. In this case, if there is a clinching evidence to that effect, clinching evidence, not direct evidence, at least the circumstantial evidence, then probably this case could be sent up in the court. Otherwise, this case again would end up in a, we call it an A final. The case is true, but there's not enough evidence to prosecute. So I do not know, the individual circumstances of every case are different, and the case is taken to its logical conclusion depending on that. So I hope that this complainant in this case is
Absolutely.
able to present some cogent facts to the investigating officer, which are verifiable and which can be cogently presented before the court of law. If that happens, this man will not escape the punishment which is given there in the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. Ashish ji.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Kasturi ji, you, at the end of your previous response, you were talking about something called personal agenda. Now, I want to understand what do you mean by personal agenda, because this, I feel, is one of the things that keeps a lot of women away. They are scared of reporting such cases because the first line of thought, especially in a society like ours, is to think that, okay, if a woman is doing that, she's accusing someone famous of something, she's probably trying to get a benefit out of it, probably trying to make a career out of it. And that is why a lot of women don't report. When you say there are a lot of cases where there's personal agenda, what do you mean by that?
Again, this is something that I have come across in the legal sphere, where we do try to help a lot of women trying to get justice. And I'm not talking specific to the complainant in the Jani Master case. I'm talking about a lot of 498 cases. Today, 498 is arguably the most abused section in IPC or Bharat Nyaya Samhita. We find that even after initial investigation, a lot of cases don't pass muster, because most of the dowry and domestic harassment cases have been filed in conjunction with a divorce case, when the woman wants to get back at her husband and she wants to see him behind bars at least for a few days without bail. Literally, that it's that how bad that frivolous it has become. So um, because of irresponsible women, other genuine victims actually have to fight for justice even more. That is what I'm trying to say, is when there is a genuine case, we need to have a thorough investigation and make sure that justice is served. But when it is diluted by frivolous cases, there is a there is an element of suspicion even while we approach any victim. And that's why I say, for a victim to come out and speak out, number one, it's very brave. I've gone through the vital elements. I've gone through the important elements of this Jani Master's latest charge. I say latest charge because he has had brushes with the law before as well, and he has had to go through that before. So he has been a known um, he has been known and convicted, I think, in one case before, with sexual elements to it as well. So, in this particular case, the victim's name is out in the public domain, which itself is horrifying. But it is because
Absolutely. Kasturi ji, you just mentioned that someone like Jani Master
he
has
has
had issues with the law in the past as well. If that is the case, why doesn't the industry boycott such people? Why do you have to keep working with such people, expose such people to young women trying to make a career and then risk their life as well?
But those cases were not about sexual advances or assault in the workplace. So you cannot carry forward that. You cannot say you did something, you have a police case against you, therefore you're a bad. You can't say that. You cannot generalize anybody's life like that. So one has to focus on what is relevant to the workplace. So you cannot ask the film industry to completely boycott people because they had a brush with the law in the past. You, we don't do that to our politicians. We don't do that to people in the corporate sector. We don't do that to anyone. And the law is a very benevolent law in our country. And I don't believe either that people should be labeled for a lifetime for their past incursions. So, anyway, back to this particular victim. Number one, what is horrifying is, yeah, what is different about the film industry that's not there in other industries is that we just don't have privacy. This poor woman's name is now being bandied about in the public domain. So I was talking to the ex-DGP talk about how the onus of proof is on her, and unfortunately, he hopes that she has some credible evidence. And I do think if people come up with a case, people are not children. They probably have some WhatsApp messages or some kind of incriminating evidence may be there. But she is going to face so much of scrutiny and so much of discrimination from society and her workplace now because everybody knows who she is. That is the scary part. Where is she going to find work? Her name is there in every post on social media. There are Telugu
Okay.
news
All
websites
right.
who have
Brinda
actually
Adige
shown
ji, I want you to respond to this now. Casturi Shanker ji talks about how her name is all over social media and then this could potentially risk her career. Why doesn't the same apply to Jani Master? His name is out there in public also right now. He's in fact the one who's been accused. Why shouldn't he be so concerned?
Losing credibility. It has affected Jani Master, definitely. He has already been fired from Jan Sena party. So everybody will face consequences. Those
No,
who
but
have,
what's
those who have
But
committed a crime will pay.
Kasturi ji, how does it make a difference? Because he has had assault charges in the past, but political parties continue to give him patronage. The industry continues to give him work. So he knows the fact that if something happens now as well, in a few months' time, he'll be out. And again, he'll be doing the same work that he's doing, associating with the same work, with the same people that he's associating with. At the end of the day, Brinda Adige, I want you to respond to this. It's the girl who's spoken out, who's gathered the courage that will actually face the brunt.
You're absolutely right. Patriarchy works like that. Patriarchy has been working like that for eons. Tell the woman that you're the bad one, you are the one who provoked, you allowed space, and the man goes scot-free. Not only by law, because we know that even the courts acquit more of these people than they might give justice to women who come forward and make their complaints. And like Madam Kasturi pointed out, everybody is now scolding or probably commenting and trolling this woman, but not this man. He will just get a mention pass over here and a mention over there, and then everything is hunky-dory. If the political party has, thrown him out or suspended him, whatever, that is all for the public and for media show. He will go back in again over there, probably get another stronger space. But it is this woman who's going to suffer the most. And that I think we as a society sanction this. We socially sanction women being sidelined and women being blamed and forced to carry the mantle of guilt because they came out and spoke. And I think now it is up to industries, it is up to the leaders, it is up to the powerful people who can make decisions to say that the fact that she's come out and spoken, we must be able to extend her that support, the protection, and not stop her from work. And just like Madam Kasturi pointed out, this man has some assault case. That doesn't mean that he should not be given a job or he has not done a job well. That does not mean that he should not be given a space. I completely agree. Why is it not the same case for women? So this girl has come out and complained. She must also be allowed to do her professional work. Let the case take its own course. But that is the responsibility nobody is forced by law to hold on to. It is out of my goodwill, I will give you a job, I will retain that job for you. So now it is the industries and the leaders who have to step up. It is their responsibility. They can't simply say we'll let the courts take action and then if she's proven guilty or he's proven guilty or she's innocent, we'll take her back. That is wrong. Because the court is taking up the legal side of the activity.
Before we wrap this discussion up, I want Mr. PK Jain to give us an understanding about what women can do. What's the best thing women can do? Brinda ji, we just have a couple of minutes on the broadcast. I want PK Jain ji to talk about an issue or talk about something that I feel a lot of women right now watching will also be, wanting to hear. PK Jain ji, in such a situation, because Casturi ji also pointed out that it's not just the movie industry, this happens across the board, across multiple industries. In such a situation, a woman who finds herself being dominated and has an issue but cannot speak given her professional commitments and everything else, what's the best course of action for women? Because you dealt with the law, you know how it works. What's the best thing that a woman can do in a situation like that?
Ashish ji, my clear advice to such probable and possible victims is that they must create evidence. If this was not consensual, if this was not with the consent of this girl, then she should create an alibi. She should confide in one or two persons who are very close to her, maybe family members or friends, who can stand by her in case an eventuality of lodging a complaint comes up. As I said, physical evidence, forensic evidence would hardly be there. So it is only a one person's word against another. And maybe secondly, some kind of secondary evidence where statements can be recorded. The third thing can be that in our scenario, we have a system where a victim can give a complaint to a senior officer and request it to be kept in a sealed cover till the time she really intends to lodge a complaint. What happens is that the complaint will be there with the police officer. She'll take an acknowledgement key with her. And then this complaint will be opened and acted upon only if she desires it to be done. So some kind of a secondary evidence has to be created by the victim or the probable victim.
A lot of checks and balances there, which is of course done by the law enforcement department. But the problem here is that this is not followed. And we also see, for example, now, like Casturi ji pointed out, the name of the victim is out there on social media, thanks to some irresponsible officers who clearly have not withheld the name. And this again goes on to affect her work and her life as well. And such cases really need to be dealt with sensitivity. And I think it's not just the people in the movie industry or any other industry, but it's also the law enforcement officials that need to ensure that women stay safe wherever they are. I appreciate you all for joining us on this discussion. We'll of course be joining back with more on this.